Welcome to Real Talk. We are a podcast on strengthening relationships and fixing broken people. We are doing a two-part series today in regards to fixing broken people. I am Ty,
And I'm Justice.
and welcome. We will begin this series on fixing broken people with our first question.
Yeah, so with fixing broken people, I think it's first key to identify what makes someone broken. We're going to go over the signs of what really comes up in a broken person.
All right. Well, first thing, identifying being broken. So we have to relate where the broken came from. A lot of times, being broken came from a long-term tragedy. Things when you were in elementary school, that pretty girl you saw in class that you couldn't wait to get dressed up in the morning to get ready to go to school for, and you end up in school and you see her holding hands with someone else. You become broken from this. Little things like when you're with your parents, you seen a commercial of a toy you wanted and you couldn't wait to get it, and you get to the toy store and your parents tell you they ain't got no money. So these are the little things that triggers us from our past that leaves us broken, and our defense mechanism is to bring these things back. So when we meet someone and we become in a relationship, we give our all to someone and we don't get back what we wanted. So that leaves us broken. And so this series is about fixing that and moving on. We have to identify where we're broken at and how we're broken. And once we do that, we can move on.
Yeah. I think you brought up a good point of like how some stuff stems from childhood and how if we don't do that proper deep dive work to figure out why we're acting and reacting the way we are in a relationship, it could really rise to the surface. And, a lot of times it's not that person that's really triggering you. It's something they said that someone else said in your past that then brings up bad feelings and triggers that bad reaction. So I think it's key to do that self-reflection. With that, it kind of ties into the next question on why people stay broken and why people choose to not heal before getting into a relationship.
Well, people stay broken for a lot of reasons. A lot of times people, they stay broken because they want to. Some people like playing the victim. It's a bad thing, but we do it. And a lot of times people want that. A lot of times people won't call their parents unless they got bad news. No one calls them half the time and say, hey, mom, I had a good day at work. No, they'll call and say, I got a bad day at work. So a lot of times people like that fact of I'm broken. I was in a bad relationship. He did this to me. He stole my car and ran off with my mom. People like that, and the friends that they listen to, they like that because they're going through drama. So I always say misery loves company. So when you get in these spots in life, you absorbed other people who's going through the same thing you're going through. And a lot of times we have to cut that off. We have to realize, hey, you know what? We need to start talking to people that ain't broken, that can fix this, and we can get better. But we don't know. We like the drama. Look how many people watch drama shows every day. You know what I mean? Crime shows every day. We love the drama, and so we feed into that, and we don't feed into getting away from that. And that's one of the biggest parts of staying broken is when you don't realize, hey, I need to do the right necessary steps to get away from that.
For sure. You brought up a good point about then people wanting to hear about those crazy stories, what's been going on, and, bringing up, want to hear about the bad stuff that's going on instead of what's good. So, yeah, that could definitely play a part on why people want to stay broken because they always want to have something to say, something to talk about. They find their value in that instead of, valuing healing and then being able to come with good news.
One thing, people look for broken people. A lot of times when people are still broken and they jump into a relationship, they look for people that's broken so they can relate. If you're in a bad relationship, what happened with you in your last relationship? They cheated on you. I was cheated on too. So now we got something to relate with. So a lot of times people stay in this area of being broken is because, they feel like it's an out. They're not willing to make the change to become unbroken. It's too hard, or it was too much drama, at the time, or they invested too much into a person and they're not willing to let that go and realize that they made a mistake.
Right. I think that's huge. a question that comes up with that is that we do live in a broken world. So we're around a whole bunch of broken people. And yet, even if you do get to a place of wholeness, how do you maintain that in a broken world?
Oh, well, that's the thing about it is we live in the world. We don't live of the world. And that's one thing we have to realize is our world is our world. What we create, who we bring in, the way we live is our world and how we function every day. So if you're bringing in bad things, if you're bringing in bad people, if you're still keeping that old X in your written time in your brain, then you're going to continue to live in this same cycle. So we have to realize, I always say this. We are the vice president, the president, the CEO, the supervisor, the lead, the we are the person. This is our company. And so we are the company. And so would you just hire anybody to work for your company? So we have to look at the people we bring in our lives that way. Am I just hiring anybody? Am I going to hire anybody off the street? Didn't look at his resume. Didn't check his references. Didn't look at his background. This guy might have been a criminal, pedophile. We don't know. You just took him and said, okay, I like him. He said the right things at the right time, so I accepted that. But we didn't do the background, And so we fall into this trap to where we just accepted anybody at the right time. We needed somebody. We were lonely, but we didn't do the investigation on them. So now we end up broken again, and we keep the cycle going because we're not investigating who we're bringing into our world. So go back to what you're saying is we live in the world but not of the world. So whatever you create your world to be is what your world's going to be. And how much time you invest into your world, or how much time you take to watch the people you bring in your world is on you. At the end of the day, you can't blame nobody else but you. It was your world. You're born into this world. What you bring in is what you accept. Definitely.
No, yeah, 100%. Because I think you hit it home with just not being in the world. We're in the world, but we don't have to be of this world. So I think with that, just ways that you keep yourself grounded and keep yourself centered is going to be key to not fall back into that trap. Because it's easy to get to a place of, feeling good and healing, but then you can easily be sucked into those old patterns of, not feeling good enough and just not being able to properly pour into yourself. So then that trickles out in the relationship, and you can't maintain a healthy relationship if you ain't healthy. So I think that was a good point, Ty. One other question is, how should we show up for broken people? And should we even show up for broken people, even if it is just like a broken friend, we're seeing them doing toxic stuff? How should we navigate that?
Friends is different. I say relationship, no. Hell no. Don't come to me broken. Don't come to anybody broken. You should be fixed. Nobody goes to a used car lot and say, hey, I want the broken car over there. You know what I mean? I want the one with no engine. I'll fix it. It looks good. It's pretty. It's a nice BMW. All right, man, the transmission don't run. We got to fix it. We got to put new tires. No, I'll take it. No. We got to stop doing that. You got to stop showing up to people. If you're not fixed, if you're not healed, please don't go on these dating apps. Please don't go on these out here looking for people. Fix yourself first and then go out there looking for people, because it's not that other person's job to be your counselor. It's not their job to heal what the last man did. Always say this, don't judge me off the last man. I don't know how many times I went on a date with people and we're sitting at a nice restaurant and, we're spending money or whatever, but you're spending the whole time talking about your ex. If that's the case, give me your phone. I'm going to call your ex. I'm going to have him come down here and he's going to pay the bill. Why am I paying the bill? Why I got to worry about, or sit here for hours listening to you talk about your old relationship? You should be past that. So if we're at the point, if you're still at the point that you're still bringing up your old relationship, I say this, if you are going to talk about your old relationship with your new person, talk about it once. So we're going to talk about it once. We're going to get out the way. But if you continue to talk about it, you're stuck there. You're still broken. And you shouldn't come to anybody that way. You should come to them well prepared. I say a relationship's like a book that hasn't been written. But if you already got it written in there that this guy's a dog or all men are dogs and, he's just going to cheat on me like the last dude, then you already wrote the book for us. Why I need to read it? I don't need to. You already got an idea of what I am. You're not giving me a chance to be what I am. You're not even seeing what I am. You're judging me off the last dude. I always say this. I ain't the last dude. I make more money. I got a bigger dick. So I'm not the last dude. Don't judge me. But people fall into that pattern of doing that, and you can never move forward.
Yeah. But, I mean, like you said, in a relationship, you should be coming healed. You want them to come correct. But, again, many of us just have friends who just think they're at that place of healedness, and just they feel whole. They feel like they got it, got it going on, got that confidence. But yet you still see them continuously coming, being broken and not being able to fix themselves. As a friend, how would you kind of tell them, let's take a step back, buddy?
We gotta be the real. So one thing about it, I'm gonna tell everybody this. Anybody that's listening, watching, tell your friend. If you got that yes friend, get rid of the yes friend. The friend that says yes to everything. That friend that accepts everything you say. Oh, he cheated on me, so I cheated on him. No, and the yes friend's like, yeah, oh good girl, yeah, do that. No, get rid of that friend. The friend should have told you no, leave him. Cut left. You don't need to do all that. If you guys cheating on each other back and forth, it's gonna end bad. You need to get rid of these yes friends. These friends are not good. They're not good for you. They're just willing to accept anything that you say, and they're willing to back that and no. Sometimes you're wrong. The friend I want is the one to tell you, hey man, you took an L. You invested your time, your money into this person, and they didn't accept you. They threw it out the window. They slept with your mom. You know what I mean? We don't know, but you accepted that. You accepted that. You know what I mean? And that's the L. It's okay. I always say this. You met the 0.1% of men and women on this planet. So you can't judge everybody else off of the 0.000 point whatever percent that you met. Because there's someone out there that is going to be good for you. There is going to be somebody that ain't going to sleep with your mom. There is going to be somebody that ain't going to steal your car. There is going to be somebody that's not going to take what you gave them and abuse it and use it. And so we have to realize that, and that's when that's going to help our healing, is to realize, hey, we invested in our time into something that went wrong. We took an L. Everyone takes an L. It's fine. But let's move on to someone else and don't waste time on it. That's the big thing about it, is when people are staying broken, you're staying broken for somebody who's probably sleeping with somebody else right now. I guarantee it right now, that dude's probably sleeping with somebody else, but you're talking to other people about him. He moved on. You got to move on. And until you come to grips with that, you'll still stay broken. Definitely.
Right. I think going back to just this victim complex, I think some people don't think they're broken because they have that mentality that it wasn't them, like it was always that other person. But again, like, why is it important to self-reflect before getting into another relationship? What do you think? How do you think that will help in the next relationship?
Well, that's the worst thing that ever played a victim. You got to imagine there's two sides. So I always say this. It's kind of, okay, say the guy was the worst thing on the planet, right? He did everything I said, slept with your mom, your sister, your cousin, probably slept with your brother. Who knows? I'm just saying. But he was the worst thing ever, right? So you have to realize, okay, how long did I accept the worst? How long did I sit back and see all these red flags and I accepted it? I ignored it. You know what I mean? So if you did that, then you're not the victim anymore, because you've seen it, you knew what was going on, and you accepted it.
Right.
And then until it got so bad that it was, this is the worst thing ever. It been the worst thing ever. Your friends told you it was the worst thing ever. You guys was at the bar, you tried to hit on your friend. You know what I mean? It was there. But you sat back and, he'll change, or he'll get better, he'll do this. Once you do that, you're not the victim anymore. You're not. You gave that right up. Because the victim is someone who didn't see it, it happened to them, and they saw it and they left. They became the victim then. But when you accepted this for like 2-3 years, like, I was with my husband for like 10 years and he cheated on me for 2 of those. Huh? How'd you get another 8 years? How did that happen? How did another 8 years come out of this?
Right.
So yeah, that victim thing is a tough thing, because a lot of people fall back on that. It's kind of like a defense mechanism for people to say, hey, I was the victim. He did this to me. I went through that, love me because I stayed around for that. Nah, man, you should have cut left a long time ago. You could have been with someone better.
It's true.
Yeah.
As a woman, I think when going into relationships, and you feel like you got it going on and you have that confidence, but just as you keep on meeting the same men, the same type of person, I think it's important to take a step back and be like, okay, well, how am I showing up? Because that, again, we were talking about earlier, that law of attraction, that if you're coming from a broken state, that you're going to then be attracting those type of people. With that, my question for you is just, as a man, like, how does that show up? Because, I don't know, I feel like men and women, we're the same, but we different. So how would you say, as a man, showing up just or how does that show up when you come into it broken, and what does that look like?
Well, I mean, that's the thing about it is I tell you this, you don't come into it broken. Take the time out. Don't rush out of a relationship to jump back into another one. Take a little time for yourself to differ, because what you're going to do is hurt someone else. You're going to, I always say it's a domino effect. If I'm a man and I see a woman and I give her 100% and she's only giving me 20% because the last dude she was with, she gave 100% and he ruined it. Now I'm only getting a quarter of what I should be getting. You know what I mean? And that's not right to me. I didn't do anything. I'm not him. You know what I mean? So why are you treating me that way? And that's the thing we have to realize and get away from is don't get yourself out here. Don't be ready to jump out here until you're ready. Because you're going to hurt somebody else. Somebody else is wanting a wife. He probably looks at you like a wife. You know what I mean? But you look at him as like the last guy. You know what I mean? And that's not right. That's not good. That's not the way to carry on. And that's not the way to build your a better future. If not, you're just going to stay broken. You really are.
I understand that fully, but I mean, you could admit to imperfections is within us all, you know? So with that, when we get in a relationship and we're feeling good and then that brokenness is coming up, how do you feel like we should give grace? Or like you said, should we just completely cut it off once we see that that person's acting that way? Or even in ourselves, if we feel like we're not showing up well for the relationship, should you just completely cut it off? Or is there some grace within it?
There ain't no grace. You should have jumped in a relationship.
There ain't no grace.
There ain't no grace in that. There's no reason I should be sitting here having to invest my time into someone that says, hey, you know what? I realized we've been dating for about, 3 weeks now, and it's been good, but I realized I'm not ready. Like, that's the worst. Like, how do you care about my time? You know what I mean? I always say there's not 24 hours in a day. There really isn't. And I'm giving some of my time to you, and you come back to me saying you're not ready. That's not right. You know what I mean? You could be a ghost and not jump on these dating sites. You don't have to. No one said you have to jump right back out there. Jump out there when you're ready. Take your time to heal, get over that. Because the worst thing is when you get with somebody and they got these insecurities. So now the insecurities are pushed on me. So now I got to walk on eggshells around you because you got these insecurities. That's not right. That's not, I didn't ask for that. I met you. I saw you online, read your profile. I didn't say nothing about insecurities in the thing. You know what I mean? If it did, I wouldn't have done it. You know what I mean? So you got to keep it real with people, and if you're not ready to get yourself out there, then don't. Wait. Time is time. It'll be there.
That's fair. I feel like if you can still get triggered, does that mean you aren't healed? Like, like you said that we can have these insecurities, but if someone's like blatantly, like you completely ask them like, hey, do you like my outfit? And then you're being honest, you're like, oh, well, I don't know. I don't think it suits you. And then now they take offense. And now you think because they can't take some criticism that they might not be healed. And now you're questioning the relationship. But it's like, we all have places where there probably could be room where we could be more confident, but shouldn't there be an area where we can be honest and that can be accepted, or...
Well, some of that is, and we're going to talk about that on our next series, is the self-love. Having that love for yourself before you get back out there. I'll give you a quick preview on the next one. I always say it's the buffet effect. You go to buffet. Hey, the lobster look good. The steak look good. The chicken looks good. By the time you get down and sit down and eat it, something got cold. So we're putting too much on our plate. If we don't have love for ourselves, it's hard to go out here and love somebody else. And I'll elaborate that more on our next series. But definitely, we have to have that love for ourselves before we get back out there. And that's part of the fixing process, the being unbroken process. It's like a flower, the buds die, so you got to cut them off. You know what I mean? You have to let that go. You have to get rid of the baggage. You have to get rid of the insecurities, the stuff that someone else gave you. They gave you that. And to go back from our start, it was given when we were kids. It goes back to when you're in elementary school and that person you saw that you liked and you got dressed up, put your favorite dress on, and he's holding hands with some girl, or she's holding hands with some girl, and it blew you back. You know what I mean? And so those are the things that we have to get over. And those are things, the self-worth. Once we start realizing our worth and how they didn't look at our worth when you were with them,
right?
It will change everything. Definitely. It'll change the way you look at the next person and the way you look at life. Definitely.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, those are really good points. And I think it's easy to fall back into, again, that brokenness when you aren't fully healed. You might think you're ready and then you hop into it and then it kind of goes back to not feeling like you have much to contribute to the relationship. And you might be right. Another question I have is, when looking in the mirror and realizing you're broken, what do you think some symptoms that come up? We talked about the signs and what that might look like, but what are some symptoms that come up?
Well, the symptoms is basically that insecurity stuff. You know, that the stuff, the baggage you're holding, the baggage. If you ever get a chance to listen to Erykah Badu, Bag Lady, listen to the words. You got to get rid of them bags. It's too heavy. It's too much to bear. He don't want some girl with all them bags. That's what pretty much the song's telling you. You're coming into a new relationship with all the baggage. You know what I mean? So you have to get rid of that. You know, and these are little things and little steps that people can do to move forward. Is start realizing I might have not have been the bad person in this. I might have been, giving love to someone, giving my time to someone, give respect to someone, and they just didn't accept it. But realize there's someone else out there that will. And that goes back to the 0.0000% of the people that are out there. There's some dude sitting in Brazil right now that's the perfect man for you. You never met him. You know what I mean? But you're stuck on some dude that live in Tacoma. You know what I mean? And all men are dogs because of the guy in Tacoma. You know what I mean? But there's a guy in Brazil that'll treat you like the queen you should be. And he'll respect everything that you gave the guy in Tacoma that he threw out the window except with your mom. I don't know why I keep going back to the mom thing.
I know.
But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It gets bad. But no, you have to, once you start realizing that hey, like I said, you took an L. You invested in the wrong person. It might have been the wrong husband. It might have been the wrong timing. It might have been, I go into signs too. It might have been the wrong sign. Just we didn't mesh. And once you realize that, it's going to really help with your becoming unbroken process. Right. Definitely. Mm-hmm. And it'll allow you to open up to a new person and not carry that other stuff. You won't need to bring up what happened to me in the past.
Right. Yeah. That investment in that time though, like, when you invest in someone and that was the wrong person and you showed up well, I think it could still be something to look back on, because at the end of the day, like you said, when you stay in something for so long, you then have to think about, like, why didn't you feel like you were enough to walk away from that, Like, why did you feel like you were putting that person in a position where it's like, okay, well, I could settle for less for you, And I know we're going to get to that in the next podcast about self-love, but
you definitely will.
Yes. I wanted to see where your head was at when you do invest so much time and so much energy. Like, it's hard to leave.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to go back on everything we said today so far, you have to realize, don't play the victim. You have to realize we've all been broken. We've been broken from old stuff that we carry, mom, dad issues, depression issues, bipolar, whatever your thing is. These are things that you carry. You know what I mean? And these are things that make you. And so that other person didn't make you. You just met someone that wasn't the right person at the right time. But they didn't make you who you are. There's someone else that loves who you are, that accepts everything about you, that accepts your depression or whatever you're going through, whatever you go through in life. There's a man out there or a woman out there that's gonna accept everything about you, and they're gonna love everything you do for them. Now, the other person, they just used it. They saw an opportunity, maybe. We don't know. But they weren't the right person. The good thing about it is you don't have to be around them no more. That's the problem, is a lot of times we carry these baggages and we're carrying someone that shouldn't even be a baggage. We should have got rid of that a long time ago. We shouldn't even have picked it up. Well, we did. And so we still carry it? Why? Why would we do that? We shouldn't have picked it up in the first place. We seen the signs, the red flags, and all that other stuff. And so they're not something that we need to keep carrying. They don't need to rent space in our head. They don't. And they're getting over. Like I said, they're out doing whatever they want to right now, and we're still talking about them. And that's the messed up part about it is people can't get over that sometimes. Mm-hmm. They can't get over that. Oh, I gave my heart to this person and they broke it, And I realized, okay, I gave my heart to the wrong person. Mm-hmm. It's okay, it happens. So to go back on everything we talked about is become aware of who was wrong, what was wrong. Fix it in yourself to say, hey, I did my best. I'm gonna give my best to someone else. I gave it to the wrong person. It is what it is. And at the end of the day, you'll realize, and you'll be a better person for that next person, because you'll realize, hey, I did all this for the wrong person, but now I'm gonna do it for the right person. They're gonna accept it and love it, and you'll see the happiness, the joy out of that. And we'll get deeper into the signs and stuff of picking the right person. That's a whole nother podcast. We'll definitely get
Nah, for sure. But I just really want to highlight the fact that just even when you're being a friend to somebody who's getting into a new relationship and you just see them kind of going back to their old ways, I think it's really important, the point you made about just being not that yes friend, letting them know, hey, I see this might be a point of conclusion where you might want to dig into that, and also just being that friend that not only sees that person for their bad, but like they're good. Start hyping them up, highlight them, being like, hey, in this area, I think you're killing it, just having that genuine love for your friend. I think it could help that person then be able to give genuine love in a relationship, because although relationships are really important, I think if you have good friends, it reflects good in your relationship. But if you have bad friends, it's going to tear up your relationship. So I really like how you said that.
Well, yeah, this is part one of our 2-part series, and thank you for tuning in. Please pass this along to someone that may need it, or just pass it along. You can catch us on Real Talk 23 on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Pass it on. Let someone know about it, definitely. And check out our next series.
Yes, and please leave comments if you guys have anything that we said sparked something in your brain. Leave a good comment, like and subscribe, like we said, and we'll see you guys next time.